Hey guys, what's going on? Jebb here, and in today's video, we're going to be talking about the Bitcoin and cryptocurrency markets because, guys, if you've been following crypto and you saw yesterday's video, then you'll probably be aware that Bitcoin finally had a jump. Bitcoin traded sideways for about 5 days, and we finally saw an actual little bit of price action as we can see here on the hour chart, or on the day chart we saw a little bit, and here on the hour chart we saw quite a nice little spike here. So in today's video, I want to talk about where I believe Bitcoin is going to be going over the next couple of days and weeks, and lay out some important price levels and some important levels of resistance that Bitcoin is going to see trading around in the coming days and weeks as we hopefully approach and break an all-important level of $8,000 and break out of the descending triangle pattern that Bitcoin has been in for the last couple of months, really most of 2018. We're going to want to see a break bullish of that, and in today's video, we're going to lay out how Bitcoin can get there to attempt that. But before we get into that, guys, if you enjoyed today's video, definitely consider dropping a like, hitting that subscribe button, and smashing the notification bell, guys. We make cryptocurrency videos every single day, and I wouldn't want you to miss any of them. But let's get right into it. Bitcoin is currently trading at around $6,700 here on the Bitfinex chart. On CoinMarketCap, it's listing Bitcoin as trading around $6,780. If you saw yesterday's video, which you can watch up here in the top right, for the first about 5 minutes, I explained how CoinMarketCap was actually misreporting the price action of a lot of cryptocurrencies, and it's kind of fixed it. It was reporting Bitcoin over US dollar Tether, that exchange on Binance, as trading Bitcoin around $7,000 or $7,500, $7,050, excuse me, for BTC over US dollar Tether, which simply wasn't true. I brought up the market and I showed you that they were misreporting that, and it seems that they fixed that a little bit. I think this is still about $50 over what is trading on Binance. I'm still not totally sure why they were doing that. Someone in the comments pointed out that did seem to mainly be happening to the BTC over US dollar Tether pairing, which is definitely something to keep an eye on. But I think it looks like that's been mostly fixed by now, so we can continue using CoinMarketCap. But the last 24 hours, Bitcoin's daily volume has been around $3.5 billion, and it's only down about 1% over the last 24 hours. We're seeing a more red than green day, as we can see here. We don't see a whole lot of green. We see a little bit. It's kind of a neutral day with more of a bearish tint here. We do see a couple of double-digit losers. Bitcoin is, of course, above $115 billion market capitalization. We saw very important support at $100 billion there. And Ethereum's kind of getting a little bit of resistance up here around the $500 mark and the $50 billion market capitalization point. Bitcoin's dominance is still up around 42.5%. Guys, this is kind of interesting. Bitcoin's dominance being high, we talked about this on the channel a lot. We've talked about this a lot, where when Bitcoin's dominance is going up, that typically correlates with Bitcoin's price action going down, and we're actually kind of seeing a breakdown of that trend. The dominance has stayed around the same while Bitcoin has continued to increase in price. That's something interesting to keep in mind, and market cap is still, of course, over $250 billion. Let's jump over here to the chart and do some technical analysis. I want to talk about this breakout in a little bit more depth than I was able to in yesterday's video. And I want to talk about why I believe, or what the chart is telling me, caused this little breakout that we saw here. I'm going to get rid of all these moving averages for a second so that we can see this a little bit better. What we saw Bitcoin in was, of course, an ascending wedge pattern. As I said in the video where I explained what ascending wedge patterns are, if you guys aren't that familiar with wedge patterns or triangle patterns, because we're going to be talking about them in today's video, I definitely recommend a video that I made about a week and a half ago. You can click it in the top right, and I'll teach you everything you need to know about wedges and triangle patterns in that video. But what we saw Bitcoin do is it was in an ascending wedge pattern, and as we know from that video, that ascending wedge patterns are typically bearish patterns. Actually, typically you'll see a bearish breakout of that, and that's exactly what I thought would happen, and that's why I said would happen, and that's exactly what ended up happening. As we saw, Bitcoin broke bearish out of that basically just by trading sideways. It wasn't like it wasn't a crash or anything. It looked for a little while like we were going to see a head and shoulders pattern here, that being the head, the shoulder, and another shoulder. The shoulder, the head, and another shoulder, excuse me. But we actually broke bullish out of this descending triangle pattern that we see right here. So a descending triangle pattern has a flat bottom and a downtrend of resistance, and normally this is a continuation pattern, but normally it's also a bearish pattern. So it would be a continuation pattern of the trend leading into it, which was an uptrend, but it's also a bearish pattern, so it would break bearish. So there were it was conflicting there, but since Bitcoin was trading mostly around the downtrend of resistance, it broke bullish out of this, and that's where we saw a lot of this price action come from, was it breaking bullish out of this, and you can see the volume helped indicate that. This would have been a nice trade to make if you guys were watching this pattern. You could have traded that with the volume confirmation there. But over the last 24 hours, last like 36 hours, we've more or less just been trading sideways. Let's go out here to the day chart, and I want to show you where I think Bitcoin is going to be going over the next couple of days and weeks, as we, of course, approach this important level of $8,000. Let's just draw a little line segment here so that we can see that level. right about there is where we're going. That's where I want to see Bitcoin move to in the next couple of weeks, because right around there, that's a big even. $8,000 has 3 zeros in it. That's a big even. A lot of people like to trade around big evens. Ask yourself, would you like to put a buy or a sell order at $7,842? No, you'd put it at like $7,500, $7,750, or 8,000, and that's what a lot of other people do as well. That's why you see a lot of trading around what you call big evens, and 8,000 is one of those. And that also correlates with right about the time that we're going to be touching this downtrend of resistance. The market's probably going to do something like this and move up. It's not just going to moon up there. We might go over a little more sideways and come up here and hit it around here, but somewhere around $7,500 to $8,000 is where we're going to intersect with this downtrend of resistance. We'll talk about that in just a bit. But the real levels that I'm looking at as resistance for when we're moving up here is, of course, going to be this $6,800 level, $6,850 level, somewhere around there. We've seen a lot of trading around there, and there is still potential for a inverse head and shoulders pattern to form here if we do get rejected off of it. But we do see this level right here being our level of resistance. Let's turn these moving averages off again for a second and come in here to the 4 hour so I can define that a little bit better. As we can see, we had a recent high up here at around $6,820, $6,850, somewhere around there, and we saw recent trading over here, back over here as well. If we come out here to the day chart, then that has also helped to be reinforced. Turn off volume. That has also helped reinforced by the fact that we had a lot of trading over here. And on the daily chart, if you take away the wixes, then that's right around where we bottomed out back here on February the 5th and 6th. So that is an important level. That is a very powerful level that we've gotten resistance at once. And if we do break through that, that is definitely going to be a good sign. But it may be hard for us to break through that for another reason. And that would be that we have a moving average coming down to meet us there. We have the 50-day moving average coming down here, which is also giving us resistance at about exactly $6,900 right now. And as we continue to go sideways, that moving average is going to continue to come down because it's already trending downward. And we're going to see resistance at that moving average as well, which is also giving us resistance at 6,800 with the 50-day moving average right here. And we have the big even of $7,000 just above it. So we see a lot of resistance right above us, guys. And that could entail that Bitcoin is going to come down and form an inverse head and shoulders reversal pattern with a shoulder here, a head here, and a shoulder here. That's still very much in the cards. We could still very much see that. I don't necessarily think that we're going to see it at this point, but that is still a very big possibility if we do actually reject off of $6,800. But if we do, in theory, get above $6,800, what we're probably going to see is we'll probably get above it. We'll probably go up to like $7,000, $7,200, come back and then test $7,000 as a level of support, or test the 50-day moving average as a level of support. The 50-day moving average is actually a really interesting moving average. That's this red moving average right here, this little moving average. That was a very important moving average of support in 2017. It hasn't been that important in 2018, but in 2017, what you would normally see with the 50-day moving average is you would see whenever Bitcoin would go into a bear market, into a bear cycle, what it would do is it would breach the 50-day moving average, that's this red one right here, come down and get support on the 100-day moving average. As you can see right here, it happened right here, and it happened right here. And then it would come up, get above the 50-day moving average, pull back, get support on the 50-day moving average, and that would signal a rally. This pattern repeated several times. We saw it right here. We saw it right here. If we keep going back on the chart, then we see it kind of over here. We came down here, got a little bit more of a shaky support down here on the 100-day moving average, but we came up, and we got support on the 50-day, and even back here you see something like this where we came down to the 100-day and got up to the 50-day. So the 50-day moving average historically has been a very important moving average, and what I would like to see is for Bitcoin to get above it over here around $7,000 where it currently is. I want it to get above that 50-day moving average, come back, get support on it, and then continue its run. That's what I would like to see. I'd like to see Bitcoin break out of this little, that's not what I meant to do. I'd like to see Bitcoin break above this little level of support that it has in between $6,800 and $7,000, come up here, like something like that, get support the 50-day, which would be right around there at the time, and then come up here and test our next level of support, which is going to be the 100-day moving average. Now, this is different from 2017 because the 50-day is below the 100-day, so that's definitely different than what it was in 2017 where the 50 was above the 100, but we do want to see Bitcoin get above the 100-day moving average. Of course, that's another important moving average. And guys, standard moving average, simple moving averages, whatever you want to call them, moving averages are important indicators because so many people use them. The exponential moving averages are also important, but I tend to use the simple moving averages because there seems to be more trading around them, at least on the longer term time frames, in my opinion. But a lot of people do use these. And guys, something to keep in mind with indicators or formations or anything in technical analysis is that the more trading volume that uses these technical indicators and trades around them, the more powerful they are. Okay, so the RSI, I use the RSI a lot. As you can see, it's still down here. I haven't talked about it in this video, but I use the RSI a lot because so many people use the RSI. And since so many people trade around the RSI, it has a lot of power. If you have 5 people using a technical indicator, then it's not going to have that much power, because I'm in the camp that technical indicators get their power from other people using them. So the moving averages are very powerful because simply for the fact that a lot of people use them, and the 100-day moving average is one that a lot of people are going to use, and I think we will probably see resistance somewhere around $7,600 to $7,800 on this moving average, which may also correlate with right around where we hit this. We could easily see this moving average continue to go sideways over here, turn up a little bit, and then hit this downtrend of resistance, and that might be right around the place that we see that. We could see a convergence of resistance here in between $7,600 and $8,000, where we see $8,000 is a big even, the downtrend of resistance, and the 100-day moving average. Kind of how we're seeing a convergence of resistance right now. We could see something like that happen about a week and a half from now. So if that all does go to plan, let's turn off the moving averages. If that does all go to plan, are we going to break bullish out of this descending triangle pattern? Now, that's not a question that we can really answer at this point. I know you guys are curious about that, because if we do break out of this descending triangle pattern that Bitcoin has been in for so many months now, ever since late January, Bitcoin has been in this descending triangle pattern, and I know we're getting tired of it. I completely agree, guys. We are definitely getting tired of it. I would like to see Bitcoin break above this, but are we going to? That's a question that we're going to have to answer when the time comes. It's not really that easy to answer that right now. One of the things that makes me skeptical that we're going to just break straight through it is that Bitcoin traded sideways for 5 days here. If Bitcoin had as much exuberance as I would like to have seen, then I think we would have traded up. We wouldn't have continued to go sideways for that long, but we're going to have to see. The market can change a lot in a week and a half. We know that. Of course, it can change a lot in a week and a half, so we're going to have to see if Bitcoin can break through that. I'll definitely keep you guys up to date on the channel, but as far as a preliminary guess on my part, this isn't anything. I'm not calling this or anything. I think we will probably break through it here in the month of July, and if we don't, we could see Bitcoin come down here, get support down here around $6,000 to $7,000 again, and then break through it. I think this bear market is just about over, and I think you guys are definitely in a good position to start gobbling up some Bitcoin and getting ready for a bull run. Now, don't get me wrong, it is very possible that Bitcoin goes down to $3,000 or something, but guess what you do in that situation? You buy more Bitcoin, guys. You should definitely have a trading portfolio and an investing portfolio. Trade all you want, trade to your heart's content, but guys, we're in on the ground level of a very, very powerful technology, a very powerful industry that is going to change the world. I know I've said this many times, and I know you guys agree with me. You guys want to have a long-term portfolio. Don't be the guy that was sitting around trading Bitcoin and then you ended up making less money from trading than you would have just from holding. There were all kinds of stories from that, from 2015 to the end of 2017. Don't be that guy. You want both those portfolios. But anyway, guys, that's going to do it for this video. Tell me in the comments section down below what you think of my analysis here. Do you agree with my price level? Do you agree with my levels of resistance? And do you believe that Bitcoin is actually going to be able to break bullish out of this descending triangle pattern, assuming we even are able to get up here to $8,000 in the month of July? Tell me what you think in the comment section down below. But that's going to do it for this video, guys. I want to thank each and every single one of you for watching, and I will see you guys in the next video. Peace.